What is up, guys? Welcome to episode number 142 of Beef's Beef. And just like always, or I can't say always, but just like the last couple of weeks, I got another great interview for you. But before I introduce my interview, I want to talk about my sponsors. Old Faithful, just like I said last week, Crystal Lackey at Stockton Mortgage. Hit Crystal up for any of your mortgage needs, your home loan needs, your refinancing needs, anything like that. Hit her up at 502-615-0743. Again, that's Crystal Lackey at Stockton Mortgage. Stockton Mortgage is an equal housing lender, MLS number 8259, MLS number 1735979. And I'm so happy that I have such good friends that have decided to sponsor me, because I have two more, just like I did last week, the same two guys from last week. It doesn't mean I'm going to talk about them any less. Second one, Supply Lab Media, my friend Taquan Durham at Supply Lab Media. You can inquire for Supply Lab via DM on IG or email, supply-lab-media@gmail.com, or go to supply-lab-tv.com. Supply Lab is your spot for photography, videography, portraits, weddings, freelance, and really everything you want to put on him with photography. I guarantee you he's up for the challenge. So go ahead and hit him up for any of that. They also do interviews as far as think of it almost like a virtual resume almost. You talk about yourself and you pump yourself up. I have one of those. I shared it last year, had a blast doing it, and I felt like he did a great job doing it. So, again, Taquan Durham, Supply Lab Media, supply-lab-media@gmail.com, or DM on Instagram, or go to their website, supply-lab-tv.com. And lastly, my friend Isaac Thomas at Dellium Clothing. That's BDELLIOM, pronounced Dellium. Dellium is a men's and women's minimalistic brand that focuses on modern aesthetic and quality. Everything comes pre-shrunk, so you don't have to worry about anything coming out being real small when it comes out of the dryer. It's already going to be pre-shrunk, so it's ready to wear. Also, be looking out for their clothing in Him Gentleman's Boutique in New Albany. Should be in there either this week or the week after, so be looking out for that. You can find Dellium Clothing on Facebook at Dellium Clothing. That's BDELLIOM. Dellium Clothing on Facebook and at Dellium Clothing on IG. Again, for the last time, it is BDELLIOM, Dellium Clothing. Hit them up. My friend Isaac Thomas does a great job with the stuff that he does. Now, to introduce my interview today, I'm excited. There's a lot of people that are big fans of this guy, including myself. This is just like a guy that's become one of my good friends, Larry O'Bannon. This is a guy that a lot of UK fans will say this is their favorite Louisville player as far as basketball goes. So I'm pretty excited to introduce somebody that is a part of my childhood. I actually got to meet as a child. It's crazy to think about doing the old intros when you're playing basketball by yourself and talking about, from certain places, Neptune, New Jersey. But the guy I'm about to introduce to you is the all-time leader in three-point shots made for the University of Louisville. Was at the University of Louisville from 2002 to 2006. Was a 2005 Conference USA Tournament MVP. Was a part of the 2005, which is a very beloved Louisville basketball team, 2005 Final Four team. Was a big part of it. Has played in places like Italy, Russia, Spain, and other countless number of places that we'll talk about in this interview. But guys, without further ado, I want to introduce to you guys Taquan Pitino, also known as Taquan Dean. Hey, Taquan, how's it going, man?
How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Thanks again for joining me. I know you're a busy man, so anytime you could take out and join me for my podcast, man, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So let's get right to it. So you were born in Red Bank, New Jersey. You went to Neptune High School. But what was it about Louisville that intrigued you? Because if I heard it right, you committed without even taking a visit yet?
Yeah, I did. So the thing is I've known about Louisville from the Milt Wagner, Billy Thompson, Nate Johnson. So it was always that Jersey Louisville connect. But the main thing was Pitino. And I want to say the night before I committed, I was actually, Syracuse was at my practice, and I was going to commit to them. And I got a letter that night from Louisville. Not like a general, like they was giving me an offer. It was just a common letter. So when I woke up in the morning, I told my guardian at the time, I was like, listen, while I'm at school, call this number on the letter. Because that morning on ESPN, Pitino just got fired from the Celtics. And they said he got hired by Louisville. So I just wanted the Pitino connection.
Yeah.
So got back from school, my guardian said, listen, I got in touch with someone from the office, and they said, Pitino will call you tonight. So that night, I get home from practice. Boeheim is on the phone, calls me on the phone, we're talking. And he's throwing an offer at me. And I get a click on the other line, it's Pitino. I literally dropped the phone, he's like, hey, it's Rick Pitino, drop the phone. Pick up the phone. I'm like, listen, coach, you ain't got to say nothing. Where do I sign? He was like, you didn't even let me get it out yet. How you even know I want you? I said, you calling, so it got to be a reason. So I told him, I said, listen, I signed now. He said, you don't want to come take a visit? I don't need to see the campus. So we did that from there like that.
So you mentioned Syracuse. What other schools were recruiting you?
Oh, I had Tennessee, UConn, St. John's, Seton Hall, all the Big East, the Big East schools. Clemson. It was a lot, man. I'm going to be honest with you. Because I went from top 50 to top 30. And once I broke that 30 mark, it was like
everybody.
Right.
That's crazy to hear, man, that someone of your caliber just getting a phone call from someone like Rick Pitino, you're like, yeah, just where do I sign?
So the thing was, me and Melo, we was cool because we came up in a lot of camps together. So that was interesting to do that, but I couldn't play zone. Like, zone wasn't my thing. I'm in your face type defender, so I looked at that as lazy. So I wasn't gonna be able to do that.
So
I would have got a national championship, but
yeah, hindsight being 2020, man.
Right.
Yeah. So you mentioned Syracuse. Was there another school that you almost committed to, or is it just Syracuse that you almost committed to?
Nah, you know what it was? It was the assistant coach, which was Brian Hopkins. I had no interest in Syracuse, but he was going so hard that he's coming at 3 practices a week. Driving down from Syracuse to Jersey. So it was just one of them things where I said, everybody wants to play Nike, Syracuse, the Dome. So it was interesting, but it was just I committed early during a recruitment season anyway, so I wouldn't know.
I couldn't even imagine you with that Syracuse team, dude. You and McNamara and Keem Warwick and Melo. Oh my God.
Right. It was a bit sick, right?
Yeah. So what if you can remember back? Not to call you old or anything, but if you can remember back, what was your favorite visit outside of UofL? Because I'm sure at some point you did end up visiting UofL even after you committed.
I didn't visit anybody.
You never visit anybody.
No. Once Pitino said he was interested, I was done.
So you didn't visit anybody before that either?
No.
Wow, that's something I didn't know.
No.
So I got a question for you. So you get to the campus, you do the preseason stuff. Do you remember the first team you guys played your freshman year?
Ooh, freshman year. So, before I got on campus early, I got on during summer school. And when I got there is when I met Reese Gaines. So, coming to the gym, Reese is in there. And this is, All-American Reese.
Yeah.
And I saw him do his first – like, I was a gym rat regardless. But I saw him do a 45-minute workout, and I went back to my dorm like, oh shit, I'm in a different level. Like,
yeah.
This is crazy. So, we had pickup the next day for the first time, and I couldn't get the ball. I couldn't get the ball past the foul line on Reese. So Pitino's up top looking at the workout or whatever. So before he can even finish, he calls me up. He's like, "Listen, Ty, come up real quick." So I come up there, and he's like, "I don't think you cut out for this." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I think I'm gonna have to take a scholarship because we got Prelude Davis. I don't know if you remember him."
I do. The JUCO transfer broke his eye socket.
Right.
Yeah.
He was like, "We got a JUCO All-American, and we need a spot to fill, and it don't look like you're ready for this." So I said, "Coach, listen. First off, I couldn't go back home. There was no home to go back to."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Listen, let's do a 1-month contract." I said, "Give me 1 month," and I said, "I promise you, I'll start every game." So I leave there. He shook hands. I leave there. I go down to the strength coach. I was like, "Listen, we got to do 3 of these." And he looks at me like, "What?" I'm like, "Listen, Pitino's going to send me home. Like, I gotta gain some weight." So we did that for a month straight, and the rest is history.
So you told him I'll do a 1-month contract. Or is it so? It was just 1 month. It wasn't like a month-to-month thing. It was just, all right, if I don't make it after this first month, you can send me home, and I'm not going to say anything.
Right. So Pitino always threatened people with, he got the plane ticket in his office, like in my desk. I got a plane ticket to send you home. So that was his thing, right? So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he said that, and I'm like, nah. Like, so Cisco was.
Oh yeah.
Was his guy. You know what I mean? It was his guy. So I went back to the dorm like, "Cisco, he trying to send me home." So he's like, "All right, we got to start waking up 5 o'clock and getting in that gym."
So I got a question then, because I didn't put this on there, but I got to ask you this. So did you guys just meet on campus, you and Cisco, or were you all friends before you all came?
Nah, we had met that summer at the ABCD camp.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, but the thing was I known Cisco from, he's from New York, I'm from Jersey, but
Mm-hmm.
it seemed to me like he played high school for 10 years. Like, like it was like, "Yo, when you leaving?" So when we met at ABCD, we actually, met there. But yeah, we wasn't close like that.
So do you remember the first game you all played? Your freshman year?
I do not.
Air Force. Played Air Force at Freedom Hall. You all busted them, beat them 65-47. I wanted to see if that was because it sounds like the first practice stuck out more than the first workout stuck out more than what the first game did. So
now we did something. We did I don't know what it was. I think it was the introduction before the season. We did it in the Expo Center in downtown.
Yeah.
That I remember that vividly, but everything else.
Yeah, so that's the only year at this. I don't know if you know this. That's the only year he did a Midnight Madness when he was at Louisville.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, that's the only year he did it. His first year, and he hated Midnight Madness. That was a well-known thing with Coach Pitino is that he hated Midnight Madness. He didn't mind red white scrimmages, but he hated Midnight Madness for some reason. Which every fan loves it. Like me, I love Midnight Madness.
Yeah.
But no one seems to do it anymore because they just do it in the middle of the day. But he did red white scrimmages. I think it might have been even starting back with you. He started doing red white scrimmages.
Yeah, we did that there.
Yeah, so he did the red white scrimmage during the Midnight Madness, which I love the Midnight Madness thing that he did. But that was the only year he did the Midnight Madness.
Right.
So the next game you all play at what was Conseco Fieldhouse then. It's now Bankers Life. And you all played Purdue and lost by 2 points.
Right.
And it was weird, man. I just remember this as a teenager. You all would lose a game at the beginning of the season and then feel like you all would lose again for 2 months.
You know why? You know why? Because that ride back, either you was chasing the bus back to the hotel or that next practice was hell. So it's like either we going to do this or, win.
So you guys lost to Purdue. And then you won 17 straight games.
Right.
During that 17 straight games, you all beat Kentucky. You all didn't just beat them. You all beat the brakes off of them. So being from New Jersey, did you already have a grasp on what the rivalry was like? Or did you feel it whenever you played in it?
I think that first game, was it in Louisville?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was in Freedom Hall.
It was in Freedom Hall. You know what? The first year I felt it, but it was home, so it was cool. I didn't feel it till we went to Rock.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I felt the ground shake. Like, I'm like, what is this?
The ground
You
shaking,
know
it
what I'm
wasn't for you.
Listen, it was this. I ain't never been scared before a game before, but that one, I was like, it was CBS. You know what I mean? It was big. And then that was the first time Pitino was back. I think it was the first. I'm not
Yeah, that
sure.
was the first time he had been back since he left UK.
Right. So and he was basically like, yo, if y'all don't win this game for me, it's gonna be hell for the rest of the year. So it was a lot of pressure.
So playing in that first game at home, I mean, you said you didn't really feel the heat of the rivalry, but I do want to ask this: so have you been back and seen the Yum Center? Watched the game in the Yum Center?
You know what? I came back for the we had a 15-year anniversary, I think in February. We went for the UNC game.
That's right. I did. Yeah. So, what do you wish if you could do that? Do you wish you could play in the Yum Center now? Are you a little jealous?
Not at all.
You love Freedom Hall?
Freedom Hall was old. It was the vibe of Freedom Hall. Like, yeah, the Yum Center is cool, but it's that old feeling, you know, like that. You can't replace that.
The thing I kind of get with it, like I love the Yum Center,
Right.
but I can get where you're coming from. It feels more like a professional game.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the
It's
Yum
not
Center.
I don't feel like a college game. No.
Freedom Hall, like you're in the game. Like
Exactly.
it's just packed in there. You can smell the old popcorn. You
Right.
don't smell the popcorn at the Yum Center anymore.
You got that dark background behind the basket, so you know, I wouldn't trade it.
So you guys play some tough teams in the Conference USA. A lot of people back in the day used to crap on the Conference USA, and now
Right.
looking back at it, you all played some monster teams in there. I mean, you all played a D Wade led Marquette,
Right.
which I remember the thriller you guys had in Marquette, where Reese kind of willed everybody to the win. What was that? That atmosphere honestly seemed crazier than any atmosphere that you all played in that year.
Now, you know what? Because that was when D Wade was married to his first wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Reese and D Wade had some rivalry from high school. So when we're in warm-ups, his wife is mid-court with a sign, and she's in Reese's face. Like, listen, he's an All-American. And the thing was Reese didn't have to guard D Wade. It was my assignment. So I'm sitting there like, yo, Reese, listen, like, calm down. Like, you're going to make this worse on me.
Yeah.
So the thing was I don't know if you remember that game, D Wade, like I knew he always spin, you know what I mean, go right spin. So I sat on it and his elbow hit my chin and it cut the bottom of my chin.
You had to
So
wear that patch on the bottom.
No, I had to bite my jersey. We was wearing the black uniforms at the time.
Oh man, you're bringing back.
So I had to bite. Right, I had to bite the jersey because I was leaking.
Yeah.
All down my chest. And Pitino was like, listen, you're not coming out this game. So only thing I could think of was biting my jersey. So I was playing like 10 minutes, you know what I mean, with my jersey in my mouth.
So it's just you blood all over your chest and just
all
leaking
over.
out of your chin. That's great. Yeah. You guys won the conference tournament, and the first round and then you all won the first round, and then you all played in a 12-seeded Butler team who had upset Mississippi State already. And this game, man, I remember this game vividly because I felt like they didn't miss a shot.
Yeah.
It felt like everything that they throw it up backwards and it was going in. It just like what do you remember from your first experience in the tournament and it's your first loss, I guess you say, in the tournament? Because what was his name? Archie, was that the guy's last name that played for Butler?
I know who. Yeah, I can't. I didn't remember his last name, but he was tearing our ass up.
Yeah.
But the thing was Pitino was killing us so much in the beginning of the year that we had no legs at the end. So I remember going into the tournament, we were dead.
So would you say that was more because of his conditioning was too much for you, or it was just something you weren't used to at that age?
No, it was too much. Like it was overkill. It was. You gotta understand, we were pressing at 6 a.m. You can't. We're doing ladders and then we're pressing. Then we're in a treadmill. Then you got us on the track, and you can't put your hands on your knees. If you put your hands on your knees, he's hitting it with a paddle. Like it was serious.
Well, what's crazy now? I don't know if you've seen the study. You know, they say that that's actually better airflow for you to put your hands on your knees now. I promise to God, when we get off this podcast, I'll send you the article. It has been a proven fact.
Right, you know, I did see that.
If you put your hands on your knees, you get better airflow than if you put your hands on your head.
Right.
It's funny because all you hear when you're coming up as a coach from your coaches is don't put your hands on your knees. You don't get as much airflow as if you put your hand on your head. It's actually been proven to
Yeah,
be false.
he would have his stick, and as soon as you put it on, he's tapping it.
So your sophomore year started off with the loss to another Big Ten opponent in Iowa at Conseco again.
Back
So
in Seco, right?
yeah, Conseco was just not your all's best place to play at, and the Big Ten apparently wasn't the best conference to play against.
Right.
And once again, you reeled off a huge win streak.
So the story to that is going into our sophomore year, me and Cisco, Pitino always say, be careful of the sophomore jinx while we were freshmen.
Yeah.
And he would always say it. And I'm like, yo, coach, why you always saying that to us? And he would say, as a freshman, you're not on film. So nobody knows who you are. You can do what you want. He was like, now they got a whole year of film. So coming into your sophomore year, whatever weakness you got, they're going to expose it.
Yeah.
So as soon as we played that game, how much did we – I think we lost pretty bad.
Yeah, you all lost, I think, by 12, I believe it was.
Right.
It was a decent amount.
As soon as we got back to Louisville, he called both of us in the office. And he was like, listen, I didn't come here to lose. Y'all two are my main recruits from the East Coast. Like, if not, y'all better do this. Y'all better do this now. You're going to have to transfer. You know, more threats.
Man, so thinking back on that stuff, you think that was just mind games, or you think he was actually serious?
I think it was both. To be real with you, I think it was both. But so we leave, and I'm like, yo, Cisco, we gotta go to Walmart. And he like, for what? So we gotta go buy some sleeping bags. And he's looking at me like, you're crazy. I'm like, listen, we gotta sleep in the gym. So I don't know if you remember the sack or whatever, but in our our movie, we watched the film, there was like a little section where it was a couch and there was a little eating area. And so we bought pillows, got the sleeping bags. I promise you, we'll practice in the morning. Then we'll go to study hall. And after that, we'll order pizza and we would sleep in the gym. Like we'll shoot 1,000 shots on the gun. We'll play 1-on-1. We'll do dribble. And then we'll go to sleep and wake up in the morning, put the sleeping bags in the locker. Because Pitino gets there at like 6:15. So it was like, all right, we got to get up at 6. Make sure, and we did this for maybe 2 weeks straight. So one day we overslept because we were dead tired. Pitino comes in, trips over us. What the hell are y'all doing in here? And it was like, yo, either you was gonna send us home or, we was going. And that's when we went on that win streak because everybody started to see that, oh, they're in here putting in that extra work. So everybody like kind of latched on.
That's so crazy to hear, man. Because you guys are unpaid athletes. And you are sleeping in the gym.
Right.
And so, did he get mad even whenever you told him that you all were sleeping there? Or he
was pissed when he saw it, but I think it was more like, I can't believe they really like took this to heart.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where the respect came from, where he saw that, okay, I don't have to make them do this. They really want to do this. So
So
yeah.
Would you say it was weird, or I guess you really knew what it came from? You just said what it came from. Was it weird 2 years in a row, you guys losing to a Big Ten team and then going on a long win streak?
Right. You know what? It was because, again, our legs we weren't adjusted to, early in the season because our legs and we were trying to figure things out. But we knew Pitino's philosophy was always that we were going to be in better shape than everybody. So those first games, I guess they were fill-out games. We didn't really take them to heart, but yeah, we knew by the end of the year we'll be ready.
So I remember you guys beat a really good. They were actually the number one Florida team with right. Matt Walsh and David Lee, and as well as the number team. Yeah, the number 2 Kentucky team within a 2-week span. Right. What would you say was the more memorable win out of that? I think I already know what your answer is going to be because of the story you just said. Would you say the win in Rupp was going to be more memorable because of all the circumstances that were behind it?
That was it because, now at this point we know what the rivalry is. We know, okay, we can't come back from Lexington with this L. It's not going to be a good week. It's not, it's just going to be bad. So when we got that one, it was like, oh yeah, we're on to something.
Yeah, I can't even imagine some of the things that were being said to you all with Pitino coming back his first year. Because it's already going to be bad stuff being said to you all anyway. But now you have Rick Pitino on your side and you're playing at Rupp Arena. I can't even imagine, was there some stuff that, absolutely. We don't want
Man,
to repeat
they
it
were
on
saying
here
stuff
because we
about his
don't.
wife. They were saying things about his wife. And it was to the point where we took that personal, where it was like, okay, now we got to protect him.
Yeah,
So it was like, but it was bad. I mean, I could see his face, like it affected him. It affected
yeah.
him a lot.
So, what would you say happened your sophomore year that led to you guys, though? Because you all started off with that big win streak. What would you say led to you guys losing 9 of your last 13 games? Because you guys had 4 guys that averaged double digits, including yourself. What would you
Right.
say that season was like? What kind of what made the wheels fall off?
Our legs. We got tired. Like, see, so I didn't catch on until after we went on that losing streak, because it was like, what's going on? Like, everything seemed like, what was the difference between the beginning of the year to now? And I could see that players were mentally, like, they were just fatigued.
Yeah.
Pitino was drilling you every day, and it's like, okay. And at that time, this is when you don't understand about nutrition, and we were just doing it off of pure gut. We didn't have the proper nutrition, the style that he wanted to play, impossible. Now these college players, they get the proper nutrition in. Well, us,
Meal plans and stuff. Yeah,
right.
it sounds like y'all were living off Papa John's and Wendy's.
Man, and Taco Bell, and come on, how are you gonna do that? And so, at the end of that year, I realized coming into the summer, I was like, Coach, listen, we gotta change things up, because we keep following the same. Like, we'll play good in the beginning, and then we'll crash at the end. So we started swimming. Our junior year, we started. He actually let up, because we started a program called the 6 a.m. program, where me and Cisco would get everybody in the gym at 6 a.m. We would lift, and we became competitive. So Pitino that's beyond Pitino. He was like, hold on, who the hell? So he saw that we wanted it. So he just let up on us. It was like, okay, we'll do this, and then we'll go swim. So our junior year, we were, that's the Final Four year. But
yeah. So when did you know going into your junior year that you guys were going to be a special team? I mean, because you all were loaded. You think back to it now. You had Cisco, Jenkins, O'Bannon,
right.
Ellis Miles. I mean, the list goes on and on. But when did you know that you guys were going to be special?
When we started to do the 6 a.m. And that was the pivotal, because everybody, usually you get 3 guys that come in the gym early, then you got somebody that really doesn't want to work out, or everybody was like glued to this 6 a.m. program, and we were pushing each other to the point where either we're going to fight and then we make up, but everybody was so competitive that we realized that nobody had to push us no more.
Well, I mean, it showed, because you had guys like Otis George who hadn't really been contributing,
right.
and it showed how close you guys were as a team when you had guys like him that would just show up out of nowhere, and he would have a big game.
And the thing was, it was like me and Cisco had our own pact where we're in the gym early. And I realized, like, we're excluding the rest of the team. Like, yes, we can have this work ethic, but what about the last guy on the bench? Like, we got to kind of bring everybody in to this, this lifestyle, because it is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And once everybody bought in, it was like,
phew. So I remember watching – actually, I remember doing it every year. It's around Thanksgiving time, the Maui Invitational.
Right.
You got to give me some insight on it. What is it like to get to travel to Hawaii, and not only that, but you get to play basketball at the same time while you're on vacation?
Man, for us, it was like, shit, we don't have to run suicides, do the crazy. That was like a real vacation, but it was, it was a great bonding experience. But at the same time, we had a mission that year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know Rashad McCants that played for UNC.
UNC, yeah.
And Cisco had this rivalry dating back to their prep school days. So Cisco, once he knew that Rashad and them were there, it went from, okay, this is a vacation, to where this is war. Like, we got to play them. So we all came together and was like, hey, we're gonna try to win this thing. But it was the best experience I had.
Yeah. So I got to bring this up, because this to me is still one of the most heartbreaking losses ever that I've watched as a Louisville fan, because it was my 16th birthday. The UK game.
Oh, really?
The UK game in 2004.
In Louisville?
In Louisville. So every year we have a Christmas party, and it usually happens around my birthday, because we try to do it the weekend before Christmas. So this is my 16th birthday, man. I'm hyped. I'm like, all right, we're loaded. We're gonna beat UK. I gotta ask you 2 questions, all right? Because I asked Larry this same question, and I'm sure you're gonna say the same thing. First question: did Patrick Sparks travel?
He did travel.
I think so
No,
too.
no question about it. He
Second
traveled.
thing: do you think it was a foul even if he didn't travel?
I'm not gonna answer that because it was our fault. First, nobody knows. Listen, nobody knows. Me and Cisco, I don't know if they showed it, but we was like, we got this in the bag. Me and Cisco were dancing. It was a timeout. We were dancing together. Me and him
Oh no!
were celebrating. And Pitino, called us to the side. What the fuck are you doing? It's not. And we're sitting there like, Coach, chill. We got it. So now at this moment, Cisco is not focused.
Yeah.
So if you look at the out of bounds play, Cisco was like, I got it. But he really wasn't paying attention. So Patrick was not supposed to even get the ball.
Yeah.
But he got it.
Guard him and not get the ball.
Right. But we were so busy dancing before this that and so you got nobody knows. It's like Pitino wanted to kill me and Cisco. He's like, oh, you two motherfuckers are dancing before this, and boom. Yep.
So it's crazy to think back now how, like I said, I mentioned it already, how good the Conference USA was.
Right.
And I mean, in that year, you guys played in one of the biggest, as far as Louisville fan memory goes, one of the biggest conference championship memories ever, because you have the Darius Washington free throw shots.
Right. Right.
I want you to give like a your perspective, because I remember because Cisco fouls him right there.
Right.
Kind of give your perspective, because you guys take the lead and then he comes down. Kind of give it from your point of view on what you were feeling.
All right. So I mean, before that whole game, like he don't stop talking. Like he's like, and I think I was just coming back from some type of injury. I don't know what it was. I think it was mono. It was something, but so I wasn't full strength.
Yeah.
So I know I'm like I gotta guard him, and I'm not at full strength, and he knew it. So the whole game we're going back and forth. So at that moment, he's talking now, and I don't know if you can see it, but when he's going to the line, I said, "This is where real men are made."
You said,
and so, oh yeah,
oh
he's
man,
talking the whole game, and then I see him looking at his father on the side, and I look at Cisco. He's gonna miss him, because he's at the line and he's looking at his father. He's not even looking at the basket. And so the first one he missed, I'm like, oh yeah, got it.
I remember after he missed the first one, he looks at Kyle Perry and says, "I got this."
Right.
He says, "I got this."
If you can see me, I'm like, no, you don't. So
that's great.
The second one, it was like, yeah, I couldn't believe it, but it was one of the best memories.
So I'm going to guess you're going to say no. Did you feel bad for the dude at all?
No, what?
No, I mean, I'm not saying like, did you want them to win? I'm saying, did you feel bad for him at all?
Not one bit.
Good, because I didn't feel bad for him either. And
not at all.
No, I didn't feel bad for him either.
Because it's a difference between talking and then it's a difference between what he was doing. So, where I'm from, it's like, we're going to go back in the locker room and, handle this. But, no, I don't feel bad for him at all.
So, after dominating the regular season and winning the tournament again, you all were given a 4 seed. And is that something you guys kind of talked about, how you all felt disrespected with how well you all had played all season? And then you all – because I remember – again, I feel like I'm a pretty knowledgeable fan when it comes to like knowing what it comes to when it comes to our schedule and all that stuff. And I felt like we just got absolutely jobbed when we got a 4 seed.
Right. At first we were, but then we looked at the road to get there, and we always had that underdog mentality anyway. Mm-hmm. But at this point, we knew we were in the best shape of our lives. So we know whoever we was gonna get, we were gonna kill them physically. So we didn't really care after. I mean, initial shock, but after that, no.
What's crazy is your all's first round matchup, you all struggled a lot of that game against Lafayette.
Right. But because they play the same style. It was the same style. Athletic, they press like us. But once we got through that, and Pitino said, this is gonna be the hardest game, So we already focused on it. Once we got through them, it was like, oh, okay, we got Georgia Tech. We didn't care.
That's crazy for me to think about because I was just about to ask you about your second round matchup with Georgia Tech. That team's loaded. You got Nate Robinson. You got Brandon Roy. Their big guy, what was Walsh?
Right.
Was that his name? Like they were loaded, man.
Yeah, you talking about? I think we played Georgia Tech before.
No, I'm sorry. You played Georgia Tech first, and they were still loaded. They had Jarrett Jack. They had Muhammad and Will Bynum. Yeah. They were and Anthony Morrow.
Right, and I think BJ Eldat. Yeah, so they were loaded too.
Because that Georgia Tech team, isn't that the team the year before played against UConn in the championship? It pretty much had everyone back. That's amazing to me. That just shows you how intelligent of a coach he really was to know that, hey, this game is going to be the most difficult game we have.
See, the thing is, he knew the tournament better than anybody. So he knew our style. Nobody could prepare for us because we were pressing, then we were coming back into a zone press, matchup. So we were switching, but we knew we always had the opponents that didn't play in our conference or balance because they were going to be more scared of the press.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had, 3 shooters that was at 40%. So you got to pick your poison. So going into the tournament, like Lafayette was the hardest because they played just like us and they were athletic. But after that, it was like.
So that second round matchup, like we mentioned, you all had Georgia Tech, and they ended up with 5 guys that played in the NBA. What was it you remember the most about that game?
I think it was the last couple minutes where we kind of like turned it on.
Mm-hmm.
But no, matter of fact, I think Villanova played before us. And, a bunch of Villanova players I play AAU with. So they had won, and it kind of made me nervous. Because I'm like, oh, we got Georgia Tech. But we came out hot. Yeah.
So the next game, we like I mentioned, they had Nate Robinson, Brandon Roy. Can you remember what the game plan was going into that game? Like, who did you guard in that game?
That's funny. So the night before, I don't know, ESPN had this, I forget what it was called, but they had Washington on the TV, and they were like joking, like Louisville, we're gonna run through them, and everybody know Nate talks.
Oh yeah.
Right. So we get to the arena, and we're coming out the bus, but I got my headphones on, and I turn around, and when I turn around, Nate literally elbows me in the chest. So we're about to fight outside of the arena. So Ellis, Ellis comes in the middle. Like, yo, listen, chill, like let's just get in. So we get in, and at this point, I'm like, I told Coach P, listen, the game plan was to have, I forget, somebody else guard.
Right, Jenkins guard Nate Robinson, right?
I said, nah. I said, listen, that's me. And Coach is like, you sure? I said, listen, I promise you. So we're in warm-ups. I don't think nobody knows this. So we're in warm-ups. So Ellis is timing, when you come around, Nate and him to meet at half court. So he's like, yo, wait. So Ellis comes, and they meet at half court. Ellis punches him in the chest. And there was a little scuffle. Yeah, it was a little scuffle. So jump ball comes. Nate looks at Ellis and is like, listen, I'm going to dunk on you. So I'm right away, like, you got to guard me first. So he gets 2 fouls early. I don't know if nobody know. I got him 2 fouls early. And I told Coach P, listen, it's over. And I think I sprained my ankle in like the second half. But that was with Brandon Roy. That was tough.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. Brandon
that guy didn't hurt his knee, man. That guy was a superstar.
He was a superstar, for sure.
So that win moved you guys to – I mean, that year was just full of memorable things because you had the Darius Washington shots, the infamous Patrick Sparks travel, and then you had the West Virginia comeback.
All right.
Like, down 19 in the first half, and I remember it was around Easter time, and I'm at my girlfriend's, and they're all UK fans. So, like, they're kind of, like, jabbing at me and stuff. And I was like, look, I told my girlfriend, I was like, look, I'm leaving. I'm not going to sit here with them and watch this. Like, I'm going to go watch this by myself because, like, I'm getting in my feelings. Like, I don't play that stuff. I don't say nothing to you all. Y'all stop this. So, you all were down 19 points, and you all trailed 13 at the half. Like, what play do you kind of feel like turned the tide, or was it somebody stepping up and saying, "Hey, like, like let's turn
No,
this around"?
we went. I think we went into halftime down 19, right?
No, y'all went in halftime down 13. Y'all were trailing 32-13 in the first half.
Right. So when we went in the locker room, Pitino had no answers. Like he was stuck. So Ellis had got up, and Ellis, you know how Ellis is. So I basically brought everybody together and said, listen, this is what we was waking up 6 a.m. for.
Yeah.
Like for this moment right here, like nobody's in the best shape. But you gotta understand, at that time we were playing in New Mexico where the altitude was ridiculous. So my whole body.
Let's stop it real quick. I want to ask you about that part first, because I remember back in the 80s, I wasn't alive back at this point, but there was a game where Louisville lost in a game that they should have won, where they blamed the altitude. Is it really that, does that affect you that bad?
I don't know if you saw on the sideline, my whole body got cramped up. Like I couldn't move. They had to give me some type of, I don't know what the drink was, but everybody was gassed. Like we couldn't even press. Like we couldn't get in a regular rhythm. But going in the second half, we just came out like, listen, Pitino, whatever you're saying, we're not listening to it. We're going to do it. Because he wanted to stay back in the zone. And we like, no, we got to get up. So I think Larry, we hit a few threes, and after that, it was over.
So you guys tied it up on that layup by Larry, and you all just absolutely boat raced them in overtime, 16-8.
Right.
Were you all in disbelief after that win as much as I was as a fan, or was it just like, no, this is what was supposed to happen?
Yeah, when when they say hard work meets preparation or whatever, we knew we put in the work for it. It wasn't like it came out of nowhere. But at the same time, we realized, I ain't gonna lie, after that game, that was like the national championship for us. We were dead after that. Yeah. we were done. But that just showed the work we put in, honestly.
So, like I mentioned earlier, man, I actually got to meet you guys at the SAC the weekend between the Elite Eight and the Final Four. Actually, I got to find it, but I'm pretty sure I still have it. I got you guys to all sign a school newspaper whenever I was there.
Oh, really?
I had like the entire 2005 Final Four team on a school newspaper. It was the picture of Cisco cutting the nets down.
Got you.
What was it like that week preparing for that loaded Illinois team? Because that team, what Luther had, D. Brown. I can't think of their big man's name, but that team was one of the best teams. Right? Yes, I think.
All right, so nobody. When we were ready. We knew, okay, we match up well. It wasn't like they were over us or anything. But at this point is where politics started to get in. So it was around where Cisco was planning on going into the draft. So Pitino was more focused on him getting, the best position in the draft and really focusing on what we need to do, because when we got to St. Louis, it was different. Like, every other place it was business. When we got to St. Louis, it was agents. It was crazy. It was too much going on.
Yeah.
And so
there was that. They were just around talking to you all.
Listen, it was like you got Nike reps, you got Adidas reps, it was so much going on that we couldn't focus literally on the game. Yeah. So Cisco's mind, he was gone. He was like, he's thinking about what agent he's gonna sign with. So not to put it on, it's just like we weren't focused that game.
So what was the toughest part about, I guess you would say, facing the Illinois team? What would you say it was, all the off-court distractions, or would you even, because I think back to it now, and you're right, you all did match up really well with that team because you had yourself and Brandon Jenkins, who were dog defenders. Right. And I don't know how they really could have guarded Cisco and Larry on the wing, and Ellis was a beast on the board. So, there was just – and then you got – and a person I haven't even mentioned is Tejo. That dude was a monster too. Right. You just there was a lot of stuff that went into
you got that environment. I think it was, 70,000 people in there?
Yeah.
So when you about to jump ball, it's like we really at the Final Four.
Yeah.
So I think we were more, for the first 15 minutes, more starstruck. Because you got to think, behind us is you got Darryl Griffin, you got all the alumni, from the past. Then you got UNC alumni. You see everything. So
Yeah.
I think we were more starstruck than anything.
So I asked Larry this whenever I interviewed him, and you could give me your honest answer if you don't. So that year, you all missed out on one of the best players in the entire country who had committed and then ended up going to the NBA. Do you think that if Sebastian Telfair would have come, that you all would have been even more in contention with a national title?
Nah, listen, see, Pitino messed that up. I wanted, and Cisco wanted Rajon.
All right, I want you to give me any insight you can on this, because
Right.
the stories that I've always heard is that we were Rajon's to lose, and Pitino put all of his eggs in the Sebastian Telfair basket and lost Rajon.
And so Rajon was working out with us in the summers. And so he's in the gym as a high school kid, dominate. And I'm like, listen, that gives me to get off the ball. Cisco, Larry, like, we got him just giving us the ball and defending. It's over. So we go to the office of Pitino, like, listen, you got to sign him, not Sebastian. And he was like, his thing was, Rajon was kind of a knucklehead in high school. He was like, listen, they say he's uncoachable. I'm like, is Sebastian more coachable? I mean, at this point, I'm like, so I guess it was a New York thing that he wanted, but
Yeah.
Me and Cisco wanted Rajon instead of Sebastian.
So Rajon told you all he would have come there if Pitino would have.
That's what he wanted.
That makes me sick, man. That makes me so sick.
You sick.
Yeah.
We would have had probably 2 national championships.
Man, because, I mean, you think Jenkins – I'm talking about Jenkins being a great defender. I mean,
Right.
Rondo's one of the greatest on-ball defenders I've seen in college basketball ever. Like, that guy was just a handcuff.
Just think about that. Him, Cisco, me, Larry. Come on, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah. So – Your senior year, you decided to come back, man, and you spent much of the season battling a nagging ankle injury.
Right.
Do you regret coming back?
I mean, now at 37, no.
Yeah.
But for a long time, yeah. Like, I mean, I could have went in the draft that year.
Yeah.
I mean, I was for sure would have went, first round, late, early second. I was a lock for that. But, I mean, now, in hindsight, I got my degree.
Mm-hmm.
I got my degree, and, I'm able to do whatever I want with it. I could coach. I could be an agent. I could do many. And that's what Pitino, when I was preparing for the draft with Cisco in Jersey, and we was about to sign with an agent, and he called me the day I was about to sign and explained. He was like, listen, just because he's always honest with me. He's like, listen, you're only 6'3". You're not the most athletic. And at that time, it was the big guards.
Yeah.
It wasn't shooting. So he was like, listen, you'll probably do 3 to 5 years, and then what? You're not going to have your degree. You can't come back. So he was like, come back. You're in the Big East. You can up your stock even more, and you get your degree. So me being realistic was like, yeah, So I came back, yeah. But
you think you'd make the same decision now?
Honestly, if the league was where it is now, I'm staying.
You're
gone.
Yeah, I was about to say you got to be gone. Yeah,
I'm gone.
Yeah, you would torch in the league now.
Right.
3-and-D guy in the league now. Oh my God, dude. I mean, you might have been gone. You and Cisco might have been gone after sophomore year.
Right.
To be honest with you, especially with the way Mitchell's playing now. Like,
exactly.
I mean, you guys would. I'm not saying that you guys are better or worse than Donovan Mitchell, but you all would thrive in this game now.
Man, listen, 15 years too late. But, but no, and then, I didn't understand the freshman that he had coming in.
Yeah.
So I'm an East Coast guy.
Terrence Williams?
he brought all West Coast guys in, and I didn't understand that. Not to, knock any of those guys, but I'm an East Coast guy. So I'm thinking like he's going to bring in some dogs to replace. You got to think, I look up and everybody that I, went to war with those years are gone.
Yeah.
So it's what is it, Tajor's BJ. Other than that, it was, so.
Yeah, that was actually – so I grew up and my family didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't get to go to a lot of games.
Right.
That year, I know you didn't enjoy being in the NIT, but I enjoyed the fact that you were in the NIT because I got to actually go to games. And as a huge fan, I hate to tell you this, but, like, I never got to watch you all play in person. Like, I had to watch every game on TV. So I actually got to go – I actually got to see your last game in Freedom Hall. And –
which game was that?
You all played Missouri State. No, in the NIT. Because remember, you all played 3 home games in the NIT. You all played like Missouri State, Clemson, and somebody else. Then you all played South Carolina.
Notre Dame, right?
No, Notre Dame was the game that you broke the record at home, which was the last home regular season game.
You're right.
Yeah, that was where you broke the record for most threes in the season.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that was the game that you did it.
Got you. Okay, yeah. I thought that was an IT, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I know you're not gonna like that I say that, but because you're a competitor. But man, as a person that grew up with not a lot and I was able to go, like,
right.
It was great to be able to appreciate your game in person before you left, because that was really I think that's the only time I got to see you play in person.
Really?
Yeah, it was went to all 3 home NIT games.
Well, that's funny you said that because I was not. They had to beg me. The whole team had to come to my dorm room to beg me to play in the NIT. I was done. You can't go from the Final Four to NIT. I'm like, nah. But Pitino's like, at this point, I had the high ankle sprain, so I didn't play much of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, listen, well, you get to play these last games to show the scouts who you are. You know what I mean? And I'm like, if they don't know who I am in 4 years, then I need to just stop. But
yeah, I need to just retire now.
Yeah, exactly. So, but nah, I have fun in the NIT. I'm not gonna lie, except that South Carolina game.
Yeah, that was the what was his name? The guy got drafted by the Knicks.
Ronaldo Ball.
Yeah, he dunked all over us the whole game, man.
Farley, man.
Yeah, he did dunk all over Farley the whole game. Man, so even after that, and that injury-plagued season, do you still feel like you should have been drafted?
100%. I averaged 17? I think it was like 17, 19. And it was the Big East at the time, and I was the only senior. But so going into the draft, I worked out with Cleveland maybe 5 times, and I worked out with Cleveland the night before the draft. So it was me, Shannon Brown, and 2 other guys I can't remember. But so they put us through a shooting clinic that I guess they did with every draftee or whatever. And the record was, I think somebody made 70 shots, 70 out of 100. I made 98 out of 100. And the last one I played around with. You understand? So we do that, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Mike Brown is in there. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's, everybody's going crazy in the gym. Then it was like, listen, we got one more drill. And I'm like, fuck. So it's a full court drill, right? It's a full court, and you got to finish. Granted, I'm not the most athletic, but Shannon Brown,
athletic
freak, right?
Yeah.
So he goes full court, and he windmills from the foul line, and it was just like the whole gym stopped, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
So they call us into the office. Mike Brown puts us through a scenario where, if you guard Chauncey Billups in the finals, what would you do? If he's low post. So you give your answer, and then Mike Brown says, at the end, he's like, listen, if we got you at 17, we're going to take you, but then we got the 30-something pick. And if you're there, we'll take you. So I'm like, okay, cool. Leave there, go to New York, and, draft comes, and all you see on the screen is next best up is me.
Yeah. And
I'm like, oh, I'm for sure going. And, it never happened, but.
So he told you they were going to take you on the first round at 17, and then if you were
Right.
still there at 33, he was definitely going to take you, and he didn't take you with either one.
Nah, but they took Shannon Brown. So I'm telling you how the workout went the night before.
Yeah. Wow. So you end up signing with an Italian league team, right? And you
Right.
end up leaving halfway through the season. What made you make that decision to leave halfway through the year?
I was fed up with the politics because I had went with San Antonio for summer league,
Mm-hmm.
and they had flew me in. They had flew me in like 2 weeks before camp even started. What's the coach of the Sixers now? Brett Brown.
Brett Brown, yeah.
Brett Brown met me at the airport because he was a Pitino understudy. So he's like, "Listen, man, it's a perfect time for you to, come in here. I'll teach you, the system and everything." And I killed that whole camp. And Popovich comes in, and he was overseas recruiting. Calls me in the office, was like, "Listen, we heard what you were doing, but we just signed Jacques Vaughn for the vet minimum. If I would have been here and saw, I would have." But he was like, "Listen, you could come to vet camp and try to make your way." And I was like, "Nah, I'm good." Like, so the Italian team called, offered 200. I was out of there.
So it's so weird to me, man, that guys like you and guys like Russ Smith, like
Right.
guys that had unreal careers in college and dominated a lot of these players, or played really well, or dominate some of these players that have made their way in the league. Like Russ Smith dogged Trey Burke. He dogged some of those guys in the Big East.
Right.
Like, what do you feel? I mean, do you think it's both? You're bigger than Russ is, but do you think it's your all size? Like, what do you think it was the biggest thing that went into, bad timing?
For me, it was the timing. Like I said, if the league was where it was at now and then,
yeah,
I'm a lot. But at that time, it was big guards, like I told you, big guards, athletic guards. I wasn't that.
yeah.
But
So
Russ, I think Russ was more reputation. You get what I'm saying? I think it was more what his inconsistencies as a off the court that probably hurt him more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now he's better than most of the guards in the league right now.
Yeah.
But I just think what he did off the court kind of messed him up.
Yeah. So out of all the places that you played,
Mm-hmm.
what's your favorite place, favorite country that you played in?
Iran.
Iran? Wow. What's your least favorite? I want you to give your reasoning on why Iran was your favorite, and then give your reasoning on why whatever country is your least favorite.
Iran was my favorite because I was scared to death. You got the perception of what the country could be.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, it was the total opposite. Most beautiful place. Like they treated me the best. I got the most money, but like they just treated me. They treated me.
Do you think that they treated it? Not to say, do you think they treated you better because they even wanted to show you even more that perception was wrong? Or do you think that was just natural, or just the type of people?
No, I just as people. I mean, they didn't even know I played basketball. If I'm walking on the street, they would call me to eat dinner. They didn't even know who I was. Just come eat dinner. It was the best experience I had, to be honest.
So what was your least favorite place you played at?
Russia.
Why?
Listen.
Weather?
I might have cried every night in Russia.
Really?
It was bad, bro. It was bad. Like, it was bad.
What would you say was the weather that made it bad? Was it just everything that culminated into it? Like, what would you say it went into it?
It was the weather. It was like the fans were like stone faced. Like, it was no cheering. It was the worst experience. Listen, I had an infection in my eye, so I couldn't see. They literally stuck a needle in my eyeball with no type of anesthesia, nothing. Like, it was the worst. It was the worst.
So I texted you, or I messaged you yesterday, and I said, "Hey, I want you to tell the story about your name change." And like I said here earlier, I'm one of the biggest UofL fans you'll ever meet, and I'm sure you hear that all the time. But like, I know a lot of things about like random stuff, but I never knew fully why you changed your name. And then I read the story yesterday, and I was like, and his story's crazy. So
Yeah.
can you tell the story? I don't care how long you tell the story, man. I want everybody to hear the story, because when I read it, I was like, man, that's a great story. Or I guess the ending of it was great. How with how you what you
right.
actually got to meet, who you got to meet, I guess.
Yes, I mean, to make it short, me and my sister, we thought growing up that we had different fathers.
Mhm.
And my father, most of my life, was in prison. So when I was around 9, she had ran away to live with her father, and I was stuck with my aunt. So I want to say my freshman year at Louisville, my father got out of prison, and I saw him for the first time when we played Seton Hall, my freshman year. So, took him in and forgave him, the whole rundown, and, took him overseas. And then, long as it was going, as my career, no, I'm gonna bring it back. So when I had my senior year, when I was training for the draft in Chicago, my sister's father I had $0. He had wired me $10,000. And when he sent it to me, he called me and said, listen, I'm doing this. It was kind of cryptic. I didn't understand why, he was sending this to me. He was like, don't tell anybody, it's yours.
So
So
I want to ask you a question. So how much contact did you actually have with him, because he's your sister's at that point, he's your sister's dad? Like, did you really talk to him that much at
zero,
all?
zero contact. And the thing was, the person that adopted me, where we lived, he lived maybe 3 blocks over. So I've never seen him. He never came to a game, none of this. So fast forward, my sister kept telling me, hey, listen, I think you need to take a DNA test. And I'm like, why? She said, I think, my father's your father. So I took the DNA test. Long story short, he ended up being my father.
So what did he? I'm sorry, because I interrupt you. What did he actually say in that message when he sent you that $10,000?
He said, let me get it correctly. I followed your career this whole time. I've been proud of you, but it's more to the story than you know. So I
Wow.
never told, because he told me not to say anything to anybody. He was doing out the kind. But at this time, I'm thinking, oh, now you want to come about to prepare for the draft. You kind of want something from me,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll take the money anyway because I'm broke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. So so this was, when did you take the DNA test?
took this this is going on 5 years ago.
And I'm guess so. What happens? You find out he's your dad, and then what happens from there?
So I definitely wanted to take his last name, but when I became Muslim, the father that I thought was my father, he wanted to name me the name that I have now.
Mm-hmm.
And the meaning of the name means conscious of God. So I've always felt like I carried that, that definition all my life. So I said, okay, I'll take a piece of what he wanted, and then I'll take your last name and I'll just combine. I didn't want either one of them to feel, slighted. So I
Yeah.
took what he wanted to name me, and I took his last name, and that was it.
So do you still talk to both of them?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I talk more to the one that I thought was my father
Mm-hmm.
than, my real father.
That's, yeah. Whenever I read that, I was like, man, like it sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest with you, man. I would make that a movie. I would make that a movie about you if I were you, because I feel like you can make millions off of that story.
No, it's funny. I'm planning to write a book and try to pitch something to Netflix.
That's
Just got to, sit down and get it together.
that's the thing to do now, man. So
Yeah.
I see you working out with Larry all the time in Atlanta.
Right.
Is your playing career over now?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm getting to being an agent.
So that's what you're gonna
So
look into doing, is be an
yeah,
agent.
well, Jonathan Blue.
Jonathan Blue, that's the one that used to be involved with the university.
Right.
Louisville. Yeah.
So he's created an agency, and we're kind of like collabing. And at first I didn't want to do it, but now I see that I have a passion in it. So it's my way to get back.
What is the biggest, or what's the thing that's intrigued you the most about becoming an agent?
Well, I've been through 9 of them, my career. And the thing is I've seen that players don't take their careers in their own hands. This is why they become broke, or, they seem like they leave their careers in other people's hands instead of understanding the business and, doing things on their own. So that's what I wanted to get into.
So, I mean, it seems like I got the Lakers game on in front of me. I mean, it seems like LeBron's got it figured out more than really pretty much anybody has.
Right.
He was like, hey, I'm bringing people up around me that I know are not going to screw me. Like,
Right.
we came up together, and it's kind of – is that kind of like what you're kind of talking about there, like something maybe you would like to get into?
Yeah, because they understand that they're the product.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you waiting for someone to speak for you when you can speak for yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, that was my problem. I couldn't accept someone talking for me and I not see what you're talking about. And
Yeah.
I had a situation in Spain where I signed for $1 million contract, and the agent goes to the team and say, okay, I could get him for 7. Just give me the 300,000. You get what I'm saying? And just give him the 7. And when I caught it, it was like, so this is the way the game goes. Like, you would have had me thinking that they were really just going to give me 700,000 when they really want to give me $1 million.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
So you going through 9 agents too, that also gives you 9 different situations where you're like, this is what I liked in that agent. This is what I disliked.
Right. So my last 5 years, I did my contracts myself. So, if I could do that, then I could, teach other players to do it.
You think that's probably your biggest regret of your whole career? It's not being your own agent from the beginning?
Right. So, that's why I want guys to see why they're in college, to understand that if this is what you want to do for your life, then you might as well learn the business.
I actually have a really good friend that lives in Atlanta, and he runs a prep school down there. And
really?
He runs Action Sports Academy. When we get done here, I'll send you his information if you want it. I'll let him know I'm sending, because he played in this area. He played at Campbellsville. Played for he played high school here. He actually played overseas for a really long time. You may have played against him. David Harrison. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he lives in Atlanta.
Yeah, I know Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. I don't know if you have Dave's number, but if you don't, I'll get you Dave's number. He's doing a lot of stuff with that Action Sports Academy that's getting guys into doing the exact same thing that you're talking about. That maybe if they don't want to, or if they can't move on to college or onto a college to do something as far as athletics, they can move into doing something with this, being an agent.
Sounds good.
So I got the last part here, man. It's the end of the interview, but this is the most fun part of it, in my opinion. So I got rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you the questions. You just say first thing that comes to your mind, all right?
All right.
Favorite pregame meal as a player? Spaghetti. Pizza or tacos?
Tacos.
Wings or burgers?
Wings.
All right. Drums or flats when it comes to wings?
Flats.
I'm right there with you. This is a big one. This one's a big one for me right here, all right? Don't kill me on this one. Fries or tots?
Fries.
Thank you, man. I hate tots so much. So, favorite movie of all time?
He Got Game.
Oh, solid. I got the DVD right over there. Favorite musical artist all time and currently?
Jay-Z.
Still currently too?
Still currently.
Favorite album all time and currently?
Get Rich or Die Trying.
Man, what about a current album that just recently came out?
I don't know. I don't really have a favorite one like that.
Biggest fear?
Oof. Someone working harder than me.
Favorite flavor of ice cream?
Lactose intolerant.
Oh, man. I should have done more research on that part. All right, let's go favorite dessert then. Or since you can't eat ice cream.
That's tough. Carrot cake.
Carrot cake, okay. Favorite basketball and football player all time?
Deion Sanders, basketball, Kobe.
Favorite athlete ever, regardless of sport?
Bo Jackson.
All right, here we go. This is the last question, but this is the one I'm most interested in. Best player you ever faced in high school, college, and professionally, each one.
High school, DeMond Wagner. College, Dwayne Wade. Professional. Sheesh. That's a tough one.
See, I caught that Instagram live when you and Larry were talking about the crazy players y'all played against, and I was like, man, I definitely got to ask him who the best player he thinks is.
Keith, you remember Keith Langford that played for Kansas?
Yes, the point guard.
He was the toughest for me in Europe. Yeah, lefty, shifty, strong.
Keith Langford, man, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Right. He was tough over there.
Well, man, I appreciate you taking some time out for me. And, I mean, and you did it late too, man. Like, that's the thing. Like, you were like, hey, let's do it late. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I appreciate it so much. You see the flag back here? I think I've had that since you played in college.
Yeah.
But I'll tag you on all the social medias, man. Do me a favor, share it. And
all right, no problem.
If there's anything that I'll send you Dave's number after we get done, and I'll let him know that I sent it to him. Maybe you guys can link up and get some stuff together, man.
Appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you taking some time out with me again, man.
All right, man. God bless.
All right, see ya.